Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Living on Purpose, the show about intentionally crafting the happy, successful life you deserve. I'm your host, Mark Barton, author of the Living on Purpose course and owner of Bought In for the Win LLC, where we specialize in coaching, solutions-focused consulting, and personal and professional development training. If you find value in something in this show, please use the contact information to connect with me and discuss how it can be of service to you or your organization. Now, here's a reminder of our current course offerings. The fourth quarterly class at Ways for Life here in Brevard County started last week, and we have an awesome group, but we do have room for a few additional people. If you know a young person age 15 to 25 that could benefit from this course, please reach out to me or Ways to get them registered. This week's class will be the final cutoff for anyone to join, so please contact us soon. Okay, now let's get on with the show. Last week we talked about sources of empowerment and how it really only comes from trying or demonstrated confidence. This week we're going to focus on the next step in the happiness success cycle method, overcoming obstacles. Now, due to some scheduling changes this week, thanks to Hurricane Helene, I was unable to get the interview I had planned for the leadership segment of this week's episode. But I do have a special shout out about an organization overcoming obstacles and a great example on the personal level. So let me start with that story. The personal level example of overcoming obstacles that I want to share this week comes from my travels last weekend. I want to share this story because it's a perfect example of how empowerment can help us overcome obstacles. This time, my wife was traveling with me, which is always a huge plus. Now, she has a gluten allergy, so dining while traveling is its own obstacle in and of itself. In this particular case, she couldn't eat any of the snacks offered on our Delta flight because it was considered express service, which means limited snack options. Whatever. This wouldn't have been a problem if our plane had been on time because we had already planned to eat at Bantam and Biddy in the Atlanta airport. Huge shout out to Bantam and Biddy for their absolutely delicious and nearly completely gluten-free menu. I still can't believe your chicken tenders are gluten-free. So, because our plane left late, we already had a short layover time. My wife was afraid she was just going to starve and travel hangry, which is an obstacle I did not want to deal with, so I went into solutions mode. Fortunately, a few weeks back when I was in Atlanta and had all the time in the world, I went on a little reconnaissance mission to locate and try out Bantam and Biddy. This was my source of empowerment because I had already done this once, just not on this strict time crunch. I started doing the math as we were landing and came up with a no later than time that I had to disembark the plane in order to go get dinner and be on time for our connecting flight. I told Valerie to go to the gate and wait and possibly try to buy me a few extra minutes if I needed it. I got off the plane 1 minute after my no later than time I had calculated, so I decided to go for it. Now, if you aren't familiar with the Atlanta airport, it requires the use of a train or a very long corridor walk to get from one terminal to the next. We landed in Terminal A, Bantam and Biddy is in Terminal C, and our connecting flight left from Terminal B. That's A to C, then back to B, and I had about 25 minutes to do it all. In this scenario, the success goal was getting a decent dinner while traveling and experiencing a new restaurant that caters to my wife's dietary needs. With that, there are a few layers to the obstacles to us accomplishing those two goals. First was the delayed takeoff and shortened layover. Second was the no snack situation, which added stress to the importance of getting the food. First, I needed to resolve the issue about the food. That was easy because even though it was added stress, I used the fact that obtaining suitable food became an absolute necessity, not just a we'd like to. So that obstacle was resolved because it was non-negotiable. It's important when you're resolving obstacles that you look at which parts are most important, or as I said, non-negotiable, so you can use those resolutions to help you focus and better utilize your empowerment, which is exactly what I did. Once I knew obtaining food was a must, I started resolving how to accomplish it and going over my options. Because I knew there were backup options such as grab and go salad or purchase other gluten-free snacks, I was able to focus on the original plan of making it to Bantam and Biddy and to the next gate on time. I was able to use the empowerment I gained from my previous recon mission to help me craft a plan to resolve the shortness of time obstacle. I planned my route, knew what time hacks I had to meet, where I had to be to stay on track, and put some forethought into any additional obstacles such as slow people in front of me, escalator not working, train not running, lots of different things. I thought of as many additional obstacles as I could and continued to use my empowerment to help me think how I would overcome them. I had no idea what I would be up against, and I knew it was still a risky move, but again, I had empowerment and confidence from my previously demonstrated confidence. I'm happy to report I not only made it, but I had time to spare, and we were able to eat our entire dinner from the comfort of our plane seats. Now, because I believe in transparency, I did forget to get utensils, but fortunately, Delta made up for the no snack situation on the previous plane by coming through with 2 sets of utensils for us. Sometimes we need help resolving unforeseen obstacles. So, that's my personal example of using empowerment to overcome obstacles. But I want to share another cool story about an organization that consistently overcomes obstacles. This week's organizational example comes from Ways for Life here in Brevard County, Florida, where I've been teaching the course at. I've worked with Ways for well over a year now, and I'm always impressed at their ability to overcome obstacles. First of all, the very nature of the population they serve presents its own set of obstacles, as every member they serve comes with their own unique set of obstacles. Some are recovering from traumas and need loving arms wrapped around them to hold them up just as much, if not more, than the tangible resources Ways offers. Others simply need a guiding hand to help them through a transition period. Regardless, Ways welcomes them all, and because they've been there and done that, they use their demonstrated confidence to be a source of empowerment for their members. They also lean very heavily on their organizational values to help them overcome the obstacles their members face. More on that in a minute. In addition to the obstacles that individuals bring, Ways, like any other organization, has a recurring set of operational obstacles. What makes it unique for Ways is that every new member is potentially a new obstacle to the way they provide a particular service as they try to meet the needs of as many and diverse a population as possible. It's a difficult task, and their director of operations, Katie Stewart, and I have a running joke about it being like the conveyor belt in this old I Love Lucy skit where the chocolates just keep coming. We say, if all else fails, just eat the chocolates. Overcoming obstacles as an organization takes a lot of grace, growth, and resilience. All three of these come from using the organizational values to help you overcome tough situations, and then using those resolved situations to form empowerment over future obstacles. Regardless of what industry your organization's in, obstacles will continue to present themselves. How you use your sources of empowerment to overcome them will determine how successful and happy your organization will be. Another big shout out to Ways for Life for being a shining example of how to do this. Thanks for joining me again this week as I shared some examples of overcoming obstacles. It doesn't matter if you're trying to feed your family a healthy meal or save the lives of young people in transitional periods of life, there will be plenty of obstacles. Using your sources of empowerment to help you overcome them and then using those resolved obstacles to increase your empowerment is essential to finding happiness and success. Think about some obstacles you've faced lately. Did you overcome them, or are they still standing in your way? Either way, invest some time this week to see how you can or did resolve them and what it means for your future success and happiness, because if you aren't bought in, you sold out.